it seems like a lot of people who are trying different things, trying to figure out where their life purpose is, trying to figure out what are they destined to do, what are they here for, what is their mission in life. A lot of it comes down to, at a certain point, you realize that if you want to get any success anywhere, you got to become a better marketer, whether it's a better marketer of yourself or a better marketer of your service or product. Either way, until you learn how to influence and how to deliver results for people, you're going to be stuck. And I think a lot of people don't even take enough action because they're paralyzed with inaction or paralyzed with their comfort zone, to where they don't even get to the point where they can figure out that kind of stuff, because they wait until their midlife crisis in their 40s or 50s to start questioning their direction, where they want to go, what do they want to do. Whereas people like you and me, we kind of broke away early. Like, you didn't go to college. Did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school, yes.
Okay. You didn't go to college, but you became a self-learner, and you tried to learn all these different things yourself. I went to college, and it didn't take until I got into dental school where I realized, do I really want to just follow this predictable path for the rest of my life? In that case, it's like you already know what's going to happen. You know how the story ends. Why? What's the point? And I think that's where guys, like, when I dropped out of dental school with no clue how to do any of this. I just knew I would rather be a dating coach than a dentist. But then there were people in my dental school class who respected the hell out of my decision. They came to me, like, we'd run into each other at a bar or a party or a nightclub, and they'd be like, man, that's awesome. One day I want to drop out, or not. I want to stop my dental practice and become a musician, but I got to work up to it. I'm like, all right, one day, but when?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, you can talk all you want, but until you do it, it's not going to actually fulfill. And the way that I like to think about it is, like, why are you going to wait until halfway through your life to actually start pursuing the dreams that you actually want? Like, and I think when you actually take that risk of breaking away from the mainstream, as Clark said in the last podcast, is like taking the red pill. When you take the red pill and you're willing to do that early, and you're not willing to sacrifice half your life or 2/3 of your life just to eventually do that, then you actually start growing faster, right? For me, I studied personal development and I was into personal development, but until I got into game, which is kind of my entrance into personal development, but it wasn't until I dropped out of dental school to become a dating coach against the wishes of everybody, and everybody made fun of me. I started a YouTube channel that had no following, and I had no clue what I was doing, how to monetize it, how to make a living as a dating coach. I mean, that was like fitting 6 years of personal development into 6 months. It was very accelerated, because really quickly I had to develop thick skin. I had to control my environment like a dictator. I couldn't let negativity into my headspace, because it would fuck me up. I didn't have much of a support system. I didn't have much other than myself to manage myself. And so I got a thick epidermis really quickly, thick skin. I wasn't phased by small shit that most people are phased by really early. And people wait until their 40s or 50s to have a moment like that. And imagine how far I've grown even from there. And so I was grateful for that experience, because I was able to get perspective early on. And I had a midlife crisis in my 20s. And so, man, I think it's only up from here, but it's really inspiring to hear, like, your story too. And I think it's probably why people like you and I gravitate towards each other and end up start working with each other, because most of the people in online marketing have similar experiences too,
Yeah, that's what I realized. Like, all, like, the great, or the people that are getting stuff done, it's like at the end of the day they go out, and somewhere where I lacked, and I completely agree with you, is like, you, instead of studying self-development, go through it, experience it, because that's to know something, like to know, oh, my thought, whatever I think is going to dictate my results. That's cool, but until you actually go and apply it to some area of your life, that's not when that's like until the real learning comes,
I think it also comes down to, most people just don't have the desire to. Like, for example, before I got into dating advice and, like, learning how to improve my own game and just get better at talking to women, I used to think of self-help as like, oh, that's like a thing. Oh, that guy's into self-help. Oh, that makes sense, And so it was like, oh, that person's into self-help. I saw it as something that I was not into, and I saw it as something like, oh, that person's into playing basketball. Oh, this person's into playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Oh, this person's into self-help. Like, I thought it was like a random weird thing that some people were into, but I didn't realize it's not just a thing that people are into. It's just choosing to live a better life and improve yourself every day. And I think most people, especially small town Kansas people, you know, like I was, a lot of those people don't even it's like ignorance is bliss. They're ignorant to what is possible for them. They're also in the belief that they have to fit into this category that everybody's been telling them they have to fit into their whole life. And so for me, ignorance was bliss. I didn't even have the desire to change. And that's why I think Tony Robbins has a point when he says people only change through inspiration or desperation or both. I was inspired when I moved to Arizona and I saw Jason Capital, a guy who I eventually became friends with, and he kind of became a pseudo mentor to me. He was my age, making way more money than I would have ever made as a dentist. All right. So that was inspiration. Desperation, when I realized I don't want to just live a predictable life with no mystery and just talking about teeth all day. Like, fuck that shit. Talking about teeth to make a living so I can live my life, but my life is dentistry. Like, it just didn't ring with me, right? So now it was inspiration and desperation that I had to change. And when I changed, I got that thick skin, the thick epidermis. But like you said, go out and apply it. Most people don't even have the inspiration to do it. And I think where it comes from is you got to realize, hey, you actually have the potential to do whatever you want. Hey, that person who's an international celebrity, a New York Times bestselling author, a late night talk show host, those people started from the fucking bottom just like you. But they had the inspiration and the desperation to change and to improve and to make something of themselves. Whereas most people are just comfortable with comfort, comfortable with security. All the people I went to high school with. I log into my old Facebook account, which I never log into, but every time I log into there and I scrolled through there, it's funny because I'll see people who I haven't talked to or heard about for 10 years, because this is the Facebook page I created when I was in high school, right? And these people are living in the same town, talking to the same people, looking at the same ceiling fans, not changing a thing. And you can tell that they are comfortable and happy doing that. Some of the people who were like all-state athletes, you know, they go back and become a high school coach in the same town they went to school at. And it's like, yo, you're really just going to live the same life for your entire fucking life. What? So that's where I wonder, like, is that something that is people are born with? That one little thing gets them inspired and both desperate to change? Or are there people who get those same experiences, but they just, like, what makes someone respond in a way that goes, I need to improve, I need to get better? I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah, because it's like, I don't even know how to answer that, because it's like,
do you know what it was for you?
For me?
Yeah. What was the moment where you realized, I don't want to go on the path of retire at 65, get a solid job, go to college, get married with the white picket fence?
I remember this, my third year in college. It was when I got my transcript, because up to that point, I'd been going to college, but I kept dropping classes, adding classes, dropping classes, adding classes. And I finally take a look at my transcript, and I realized that the amount of units I've collected over the 3 years, I was still technically a first-year student. And that's really when it hit me. I was like, bro, if I even want to transfer out, I need to spend another 2 to 3 years here. And I didn't even know what I wanted to do at that point. So I'm like, I don't know what it was exactly, but I just knew I didn't want to be there. And that's really when I started to kind of just go out and look for other answers other than school. And that's where I came across the HTC. And then that led me to kind of going into sales, and then all the way through here, way to here.
And now you're somehow in a different state, working for some random dating coach, helping him start some random fucking podcasts.
That's crazy how it all happens, because it's like, I remember James hitting me up, and I was just like, yeah, let's talk. And then we talked, and then within a week or so, I was already out here.
Yeah. And when you moved out here, I was really surprised, because I was like, okay, I want someone who's here in town. I'm talking to you on the phone. I'm like, yeah, you know it's in Arizona, right? You're like, yeah, I'm down. I'm like, okay, how soon would you be able to come out here? And you're like, I don't know. I was kind of hoping to be out there by Tuesday. I'm like, bro, it's Sunday. You're going to be here Tuesday? And he was here on Tuesday, right? So man takes action.
Yeah.
But most people would never even be willing to take that risk. Like, what was it about this experience that you were like, not even just raw dating advice, but like, how were you able to front the risk so much? when so many people wouldn't do the same thing?
Because I didn't want to live like most people. It was as simple as that. Like there's something that I told myself, like I do want to go back to my hometown when I'm older, but that is because I want to buy land and build my own ranch out there and be one of the top, 1% in that town. That's the kind of way I see it. And it's like, I know if I stay there, I'm really constricted because I could either work in Amazon or work a warehouse or just become a teacher, because there's not much job opportunity out there. So I'm like, I definitely can't grow out here.
Yeah.
I just need something to move, I need to make something happen.
Na 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 na.